Good evening, NABJ family. Thank you all so much for taking the time to attend my presentation. Um, I am Bené Wilson. As of Monday, I am the new training director at Investigative Reporters and Editors. 2026 is going to be my 20th year as an NABJ member and my 41st year in journalism. And I've always been a fan of lifelong learning. I'm still working at the ripe old age. I'll be 63 this year, and I'm working because I'm always trying to learn new things, and AI is included in that. So before we get started, just want to let you all know if you've got questions, just drop them in the Q&A. The chat function has been disabled. I have left time in this presentation to answer your questions. So we're just going to go ahead and get right on it. Let me share my screen. All right, so this is AI Palooza. I'm going to talk about how journalists and communicators can use AI ethically. The first half of the presentation is going to show you different prompts that you can use to help you with your stories or any communications that you're doing. And the second, we'll talk about ethical uses of AI. So there's a lot of stuff out there on the market, and these are just a few. The one that I prefer to use is Perplexity. I like it because it will tell you the sources of where it's getting the information. One of the big things about AI is if it doesn't know the information, it'll make it up. It's called a hallucination, which is why you have to always double check. But Perplexity tells you exactly where they get the information. And I do pay $20 a month for Perplexity, but for me, it's worth it. So let's go ahead and get started. Headlines. In my 41-year career, I have always been really bad at writing headlines. Hate it, can't do it. So I will use AI to give me ideas for headlines. So my prompt is, I'm writing a story about the psychology of credit card debt. Give me 5 snappy headlines ideas for my story. So this is what it came up with. These are the 5 ideas. And what I usually do is I look at the 5 and then I do what I like to call Frankenstein together a headline for the story. So this is what I came up with. Next, finding sources. This is a big part of our job, but as the news cycle is 24/7, we don't know how many people are out there. So I like to use a prompt. So I'm a local reporter writing about the gentrification of historic Black neighborhoods. Give me the names of 3 professors who are experts on this topic, along with their contact information. And this is what I've got. Dr. Silla, Towson University, which is literally right behind where I live. Dr. Wargs, again, Towson University, and Dr. Lance Freeman, University of Pennsylvania. So you can see their expertise, you've got their email, you've got their phone number, and then you've got a link to the faculty pages. Another good use of AI is identifying compelling data points. So before I came to IRE, I worked at Bankrate, where I wrote a lot about personal finance, credit cards, and the Federal Reserve was a big part of the sources that I used. So I wanted to look at consumer credit and consumer credit outstanding levels. So I linked to this website and said, can you identify and highlight any compelling data in this link? And I like doing this because AI will go in there and only pull things from this link, from this website. So much less chance of having a hallucination. So this is what pops up. Here are some key insight: massive growth in consumer credit, dominance of depository institution, decline in finance company holdings, the federal government's role, and then it has a chart of notable trends, and then it asks you, do you want a visual chart of these trends or a breakdown by decade? So you can really dig in. And that's another thing I like about Perplexity. It will ask me questions. Do you want more information? Can I break it down this way? A smarter thesaurus. In the old days, I just have a thesaurus on hand. I type in a word and hope that I can get the word that I want. But sometimes there are phrases that we all use all the time. So my prompt, what's a different way to say, but most importantly? And this is what comes up. Above all else, the real takeaway is what truly matters, crucially, at the heart of it, the bottom line, and so on. So it gives you all of these alternatives so you're not saying the same things over and over again. Next, looking up details. Sometimes you want to get information about a policy, about what a company is doing. So my prompt, what's the baggage delay insurance policy on the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit cards? And please provide a source with your answer. So here it is. Chase Sapphire Reserve offers baggage delay, $100 a day. And it gives you a link to the official travel insurance guide for Chase, and then asks you if you want more information on how to file a claim. Okay. A writing coach. Now, when I say writing coach, I am not saying that you want it to write your story. You ask for feedback. You're not asking for edits. So I put these three paragraphs in. This is a story that I actually wrote. So I said, I put the whole story in, but I said, can you give me feedback on this story? And my coach came up with overall rating 8.5 out of 10. It gave me what was working, liked my voice and tone, liked the clarity of purpose, liked the structure and the depth that I added to my story. But it said that my opening paragraph could have been a little sharper. And it gave me a suggestion, which I mean, it was interesting, but I didn't really want to use the suggestion. I want to write my own, but it gave me an idea of what I wanted to say so I could sharpen the lead paragraph. Archival research. If you're doing research on different things, this prompt, give me an outline of what's in the archives of the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. This is a true gem for anybody that's doing anything on Black culture, Black history, Black politics. So this is what I've got. Special collections highlights, access and research. It's like materials are only available by appointment. Appointment only. You need to create a special account to get the access. And then the main divisions of the archives. And then it asks me, would you like a curated list of notable figures whose archives are housed there, or a guide to planning a research visit? I'd be interested in both. Next, interview yourself. Act as an experienced interviewer. Interview me as the reporter thoughtfully and creatively about the best credit cards for those who love to travel. So part one, my travel personality. Are you a spontaneous explorer, a meticulous planner? Do you prefer luxury? All these questions. Part two, what kind of purchases dominate your spending? Part three, what are the perks that you like the most? And number four, it gives you your ideal match. And this can be about any topic that you want. Number five, organizing information. You know, thanks to the internet and AI, just all the information out there, it sometimes is drinking like drinking from a fire hose. So you need to kind of narrow things down. So my prompt is, please organize the following information into a clear, structured format. The Federal Reserve's Open Markets Committee, January 16th, 2009, identify the main themes or categories, group related points together, and create a logical flow. And this is what I've got. It centers on the emergency support package created for Bank of America and an extended discussion on inflation objectives and Fed communications. So they talk about the identification of participant. At the time, chairman was Ben Bernanke, and he set the agenda, and then talking about the Bank of America intervention, a description of the problem, and it went on, and it gave you a lot of information. And this is what happened, when the financial system went into a global recession. Think outside the box. So my prompt, help me explore unusual, creative, and unconventional approaches on how Democrats may fare in the 2026 midterm elections. Briefly summarize what conventional wisdom typically suggests, and then provide 7 surprising, unexpected, or innovative alternatives. This is probably going to be one of the most momentous midterm elections in our lifetime. So everybody is gearing up. So I put that as the prompt. So we've got the conventional wisdom. You've got midterm backlash, low presidential approval, generic ballot advantage, turnout dynamics, Senate map challenges. But it says these models may be outdated because of gerrymandering, polarization, and shrinking swing districts mean that fewer seats are actually really competitive. So we've got 1, digital democracy pies, hyper local online communities, and it's giving you what it is and why it's innovative and what the surprise factor is and the potential impact. And then AI-powered empathy canvassing, again, why it's unexpected, the surprise factor, and potential impact. Time management. This has been a struggle for me. So I put in a prompt, guide me in improving my time management skills by 1% daily. Create a simple system to prioritize tasks, minimize distractions, and focus on meeting my monthly team training goals. Use techniques like time blocking, the Eisenhower matrix, or the Pomodoro technique to enhance efficiency. And this is what it comes up. So the first one, daily planning in 10 minutes, brain dump, 5 minutes, list all your tasks, include your invisible work. Number 2, the Eisenhower quick sort, create your 4 buckets, due today, imminent, scheduled, delegate, and delete. And then your 1% today, you get slightly stricter about what goes into delete and delegate. Better understanding. Prompt, I need help understanding the effects of climate change on mid-Atlantic beaches as if I'm in the 7th grade. My background knowledge on this topic is basic. I need to understand this for a story I'm writing. Please explain this in clear, concise language. Here we've got rising sea levels, stronger storms, saltwater intrusion, and changing habitats. And under those are bullet points explaining the answer to the question about mid-Atlantic beaches. Okay. A different view. Prompt, show blind spots that others with radically different perspectives might have when it comes to the effects of climate change on mid-Atlantic beaches, using a critical eye. Include examples of ways in which these could be remedied. So you're asking what other people might be thinking because you might have an idea in your head. So the first one, overemphasis on nature, underrepresentation of people's livelihoods. And then it gives the critique, an example, and remedy. Blind spot 2, ignoring failed or harmful solution. There's a critique again, an example, and remedy. Number 3, lack of scientific uncertainty or complexity. So again, you get a critique, examples, and remedies. Boost focus and cut distractions. So help me develop a daily routine based to improve my focus by 1%. Include actionable steps to reduce distractions, train my brain to focus longer, and create an environment conducive for deep work. Tailor it for someone working in journalism or communications. So this is what we've got. You've got a work day. You've got it broken down to the morning and the afternoon. In the morning, deep work blocks, 11, distraction audit, 12, mindful lunch, eat away from screens, take a short walk, do a 5-minute meditation. In the afternoon, you're going to sustain and reflect, another deep work block, and then at 4 o'clock, shallow work sprints, respond to emails, meetings, handle tasks, and get yourself ready for the next day. Stress management. We're all stressed. And we just need a prompt to help. Guide me in creating a daily stress management routine. Include techniques like deep breathing, short mindfulness exercises, or journaling to release tension and maintain focus. Tailor the plan for someone with a demanding schedule in journalism or communications. So here's what we've got. The morning, ground yourself before the chaos, what you do when you wake up. 7:15, if you want to do micro journaling, a thing you're grateful for, you're worried about, and your one intention for the day. Your midday reset around lunch break, mindful eating, take a short walk, get some fresh air, meditate. In the evening, after you finished work, you want to transition from work to relaxation. Sit down, breathe, release the tension. And then at 9 p.m., you want to do the reflective journaling, and you want to prepare yourself to go to sleep. And then bonus techniques when your days are really, really busy. You've got the 2-minute calm anchor, sensory reset, and a digital detox window. Scheduling. My prompt, here's what I need to accomplish today, this week, and you list your tasks. Create a daily schedule that balances productivity, breaks, and flexibility. Fact checking. Verify the accuracy of specific claims or pieces of information using credible sources. Cross-check the information and list whether it's accurate, partially accurate, or inaccurate with a brief explanation. Name all the information sources. Story outline. I love this tool. I like a good outline because it gives me a basis of how I'm going to do a story. So create a detailed outline for a feature article on what the Federal Reserve will do about interest rates through the end of 2025, including key sections and focus points. Include an introduction, main body, and conclusion. Ensure logistical flow and clear direction for an audience with a 10th grade education. And here's what we've got. A title, the introduction, why interest rates matter, with bullet points. Section 1, what has the Fed done so far? A recap of their action, and explain why they raised rates in the first place during COVID. Number 2, what's influencing the Fed's decision now? And you've got inflation, jobs, tariff, and politics. And then section 3, what experts expect through the end of the year. 2 rate cuts, the wait and see approach, and some Fed members wanting to cut rates, but others saying it's too risky. Then section 4, how does this affect you? Borrowing, savings, jobs, and housing. And then conclusion, what to watch for. The meetings are quarterly, and indicators to follow. Inflation, jobs data, and tariff updates. So, and then it says, do you want to help turning this into a full article draft? No. Get suggestions for quote, for economists you can quote, or Fed officials? Yes. And then at the bottom, you can see all the different sources that they used, including the Federal Reserve. Okay. Simplify the complex. So, condense complex information in this NTSB document about the 2025 American Airlines crash at Washington National Airport into a clear and concise summary. Provide a 750-word summary highlighting key points and implications for a general reader that's easy to understand. And this report actually just came out last week. And here's what it came up with. An overview of the accident. What time it was, where it happened, how many people were on the plane, what the weather conditions were, and the helicopter. Next is the NTSB safety investigative process. And it talks about, they launched their investigation and they invited all these different parties to participate because all of them had a key role in investigating this crash. And then preliminary findings, this is just very quickly, it takes them about a year and a half to go through everything, but they came up with some data, but no conclusions. The flight path, air traffic control, flight recorders, and human factors. And then safety concerns and recommendations. They came up with urgent safety recommendations, improving air traffic control coordination, enhancing radar and surveillance systems, reviewing training protocols, and updating collision avoidance systems. And then international collaboration, they had all of the different parties that were involved in the aircraft, the Transportation Safety Board of Canada, because the plane, it was originally built by Bombardier and it was switched over to Japan's Mitsubishi. And then Transport Canada was also part of the investigation. So then it's like, what happens next? And you got your bullet points. The final report, which takes 12 to 18 months. It'll include probable cause and safety recommendations, and then why it matters. So it makes you an aviation expert up to a point. Finding trends. I love trend stories because there's always different things going on. So my prompt was find emerging travel trends for 2026 from a data set, report, or industry update. Summarize the top 5 trends along with insights on potential impact and list all sources. So we see 5 big trends: more intentional and quiet trips, AI-driven planning, wellness and longevity travel, anti-tourist and off-peak behavior, and premium immersive experiences. The number 1, intentional, quiet, why-driven travel, talking about people who are looking for joy-driven itinerary rather than ticking off a box. So going to Paris, and you're not going to go to the Eiffel Tower or the museums. You're going to do something like Ricky Stevenson's Black Paris tour, which is excellent. Ricky Stevens used to be a journalist in my hometown of Oakland, California. So if you go to Paris, that's a tour you definitely want to take. There are also people who want more tranquil, unhurried, laid-back travel, giving people time to relax and valuing restorative environments. Impact, you want destinations that are designed calm, low century, or nature-rich. Purpose-led trips, and then AI-powered planning and decision detox. Now, I have to warn people, take the AI-powered planning with a grain of salt, because sometimes, again, AI hallucinates. So if it doesn't know, it will make stuff up. And then the impact of these new travel trends. Background information. My prompt: gather comprehensive background information on immigration policy in Texas. Research, find key experts, and uncover relevant data to provide a deep understanding of the subject. Create a detailed and factual summary that offers insight and clarity with sources cited. So here we go. There's the overview of Texas immigration policy. There are key legislative developments. There is four Senate bills that deal specifically with immigration policy. You've got data and demographics, including foreign-born population, top countries of origin, ICE arrests in Texas, and a survey by the Dallas Federal Reserve on the business impact on hiring immigrant workers due to policy changes. So then you also can get expert perspectives from Denise Gilman at the University of Texas, Austin, and it gives information about her, Heidi Altman with the National Immigration Law Center, and Kathleen Bush Joseph with the Migration Policy Institute. Then it talks about legal and constitutional tensions, implications for communities, and then more resources and experts. You've got legal experts and advocacy and research. So it asks me, do you want a visual timeline of immigration laws or a breakdown of how these policies affect different immigrant groups? Yes, I do. And then it links to all of the sources that it used to find this information. So the second part of this, we're going to talk about tools. But if anybody has any quick questions before I move to this, please feel free to ask now. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the tools. Okay, no questions? Okay, let me hold on. Let me just grab this. Ah, here we go. Sorry, found it. Okay. The first question is, are the sources listed in any particular order? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But when you look at the order, you can see which ones are like, so the Federal Reserve, you know, that's a legitimate resource. So you can see by the way it is listed that you can see this. How can I use AI for branding? I cannot answer that question because I'm kind of still focused on the journalism part, but I'm sure there are a lot of resources out there that you can go to, Chat GPT or whichever OpenAI, whichever AI site you want to use. How fast is the response for research? It's actually pretty quick. You will see it will roll and say thinking, and everything will just start popping up. From an ethical standpoint, for the prompts used in AI platforms, such as write me a story, outline, interview question, etc., do you add this article involve the use of AI? I'm going to talk about that. Yes. If I'm doing a story outline, I'm not going to put the AI in there because I'm just getting the outline of what I want to do. I still have to do all of my research and I still have to write that story. So having the outline, no. Let's see. Oh, the story outline prompt is one that scares me the most as a professor. How is it different than or unlikely to be used by a student than writing of my story? AI is always eager to be helpful. And that's a great question, Mr. President. Thank you for that's a great, I like that question. So what I would say is, the outline is just that. It is an outline. It is not, I'm not asking it to write my story. I'm asking it to give me a guide. And it's not the be all and end all. I will put my own things in there because I have to think about the story that I'm writing. And AI doesn't always have every answer. It can be a guide, but it's a tool, but it is not replacing your brain power. So my prompts were direct and clear because the more information you give in your prompts, the better information that you are going to get. If you're just asking general questions, that gives AI the chance to make up stuff and pull it from weird sources. And I put in something once and I was asking about President Trump's policy. He put out a memo saying that he wanted to cap credit card interest rates to 10%. And when I put that in there, the AI summary for Google said that President Trump was no longer president. And this was in 2025. So again, you always have to consider the source, and the more detailed your prompt is, the better information you're going to get. Okay. So can you talk a little about the importance of how prompts are entered into the system to gain the correct information? Yes, again, the more details you give it, the better your prompts are going to be. So when I say stuff like, ask me, tell me this, like I'm in the 7th grade, that means it's giving me the simplest information because you want to give the best information to the audience. And for my audiences, I've always been a trade journalist, so my audiences have a better understanding and knowledge, but not everybody has that. So you have to kind of tailor it to the audience that you want. Yes, you can ask it to exclude sources that are suspect. So for the economic information, you can tell it, don't use sources that come from blogs. Don't use sources who don't have a background in finance. You can be very, very specific about that. If you don't want to pay for Perplexity, there is a free version, but just know it's not going to be as robust. Every one of these AI tools, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, all of them out there have free and paid versions. So you don't have to pay, but that means you're going to have to do a little more digging to make sure that the information that you're getting is true and not a hallucination. Okay. What is the best way to double check the sources if you're unsure? You just have to look it up. I mean, you have to put it back through. So let's say there is a name of somebody that they quote. So you click on that name and you find out if they are in fact who they are, who they say that they are. So that way you know that you're getting your information, and you still have to do your research. I mean, AI, again, and I cannot emphasize this enough, AI is a tool. You still have to do the work. And it does not stop us from doing our own research and writing our own stories. This is just like, I started my career on a typewriter, and when the computer came into vogue, people were doing woe is me. The computer is a tool. Social media is a tool. The internet is a tool. AI is a tool. So, are there still worries about if we prompt a question like, find weaknesses or areas of exposure in my company's X program or X project, that these specifics are now identified in an information collection pool like ChatGPT? Does this leave me and my employer exposed? It could. You have to be really careful about the information that you're feeding it. And you have to, I try, with depending on what I'm writing, I try to just give general questions or questions that aren't sharing any of my company secrets or information. So that's what I do. Do you recommend putting in placeholder information about specific stories so that you're not sharing anything confidential with AI? Absolutely. Because AI is just this big gobbling machine, and it's constantly looking for information. So I do recommend doing the placeholders. How often do I use AI? Well, in my old job, I'm going to say, I'm not going to say pretty regularly. I would use it for my headlines if I felt like I was stuck. Sometimes I would use it with a story that I was working on and asking the writing coach if I'm in the right direction, but not nearly as much as you would think. Again, because I'm old school, started my career on a typewriter. To me, I have to still do the work. AI is a tool. So, can you check and see where and when your story appeared in media outlets? That's a good question. I've never done that. What I do is I have a Google alert with my name in it. So anytime I have a story that comes out or has my name in it, it comes up through there. I also pay for a tool called Authory. I pay $99 a year, and Authory automatically gathers up any story that I have written. And what I like about it, and I don't get paid for Authory, it catches all of my stories. Some of the publications that I've written for have gone away, but I still have all my stories because Authory makes a copy of it. So we should do our research first and then fact check using AI. always do your own research. And you can fact check using AI, but that shouldn't be the only way you fact check. You still have to make your calls, do your research, check with people to find out if the information is correct. You cannot just use only AI as a fact check. Are there ways to remove things you ask on AI platforms? That I do not know. I apologize. So, do you believe it's ethical to use AI to create data-driven visuals, interactive heat maps, et cetera, as opposed to creating the visual or doing the coding yourself? If you're going to use AI to create these visuals, you need to say that's what you're doing. It has to be in your story. You have to reveal that. There are plenty of tools out there that can help you create your own without using AI. But if you do, you have to be ethical and you have to say, this chart was created by AI. This image was created by AI. You have to do that. It's the only ethical thing to do. Can Authory collect stories that were already deleted and archived? Unfortunately, no. So when I worked for Compare Cards, all of my stories were sucked up by Authory. But Compare Cards shut down. It's just a shell now. So I can't get any of my stories, but my stories are in Authory. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and go on to the next session, which are some of the tools that I've been playing around with. Okay. So first, I'm a big fan of Canva. And if you've ever been to NABJ in the past few years, Nikki Mayo, my former NABJ, a BABJ chapter president, she is a Canva whiz, and she does this presentation every year on how you can use Canva. And Canva allows you to make interactive slides. And they're really cool. It's kind of an alternative to PowerPoint. I actually used Canva to make this presentation. Oasis is a free iOS and Google Play app where you can use AI to record, transcribe, and clean up your notes. Again, you need to double check because sometimes it doesn't catch everything. But if you're just trying to catch some notes and make sure you've got a recording, that's okay. Okay. Adobe Podcast. This is a freemium web-based tool. It allows you to record, edit, and enhance your voice without downloading software if you're doing podcasts. It's pretty easy to use. Again, Adobe Firefly. You can do generative AI to do text to image. You can fix and add and remove from images. You can do text effects. Canva has text to image. You just type in some words and hit enter, and it will give you pictures. Again, if you're going to use these in stories, you need to say that it is AI generated. Okay. Shortwave. I love this because I get a lot of emails and I get a lot of long emails, and I forward it to Shortwave and I say, please give me a link, give me a summary of this email so that I know what's going on and I can just go about my business. And this is a free tool. Okay. Maps GPT, where you can create custom digital maps. And these maps are pretty cool and it's free. So you find restaurants near downtown Cleveland, and then you put in your email and it will create a really nice map. And again, powered, you have to let them know that this was generated by Maps GPT, which is AI. Okay. Google Docs voice type. Under tools, you can actually speak and it will type up what you are speaking. And then you can clean it up. I'm a fast typer, but if I can just talk with interviews and things that I'm doing and put it in there and then clean it up, this is a great tool. And if you've got Google, you've got this tool. This is Infograph. It is freemium, so there's a free and a paid version. The paid version, of course, is more robust, but you can create infographics, reports, slides, dashboards, maps, and social media visuals. Claim Buster, this is a free web-based automatic live fact checking. Again, you need to double check. It's pretty accurate, but it is not 100% perfect. So you have to back it up and do your own research. Next, Wonder Tools. This is a weekly newsletter. Jeremy Kaplan is an instructor at CUNY, and he does this newsletter. I have discovered so many fantastic tools. There's a free and a paid version of this newsletter. I have the paid, but the free version is pretty robust, and it comes out every Thursday morning. Okay, next, Otter AI went through some things and upset a lot of people. So there are some other alternatives. O-Transcribe is free, it's web-based. I love this one because you can do pause, rewind, fast forward. You can have timestamps. It automatically saves as you're transcribing. You can export it as plain text or to Google Docs. It supports video files and it converts audio files. Firefly's AI. My friend April Turner told me about this one. I love this one too because it does transcription, it summarizes, you can search and you can analyze. And what I love about this one is it tells you how long each person on a Zoom call, a Teams, tells you how long each person speaks. And you'd be amazed. It shows you, who's kind of taking up a lot of the oxygen during Zoom meetings. Okay. Pinpoint. This is a Google tool where if you are working with a team on a story, you can upload a lot of different documents, PDFs, images, handwritten notes, emails, audio, and then put it in a pinpoint, and you can add people on so you can all collaborate. And then you can use the AI in pinpoint to search for certain things. So it'll go through thousands of pages of documents, and you can find the information that you need to inform your stories. Career Dreamer. This is a fun little thing that I learned about last year. A lot of people are trying to decide what they want to do. If they want to stay in journalism. If they don't, you can put in what kind of paths you want to do. I typed in aviation journalist, and this is what it came up with. And it gives you all of the different careers that you could look at based on your skills. Recipes by AI. I love this one. I can throw in rice, broccoli, cauliflower, shredded chicken. This is what I've got in the fridge, and it will come up with a recipe. Now, we all have to eat. So anything that helps make meal prep better keeps us more focused on our work. So now I want to just give some best practices. Trust but verify. This is what we do for a living. You have to ensure that you fact checked every detail and verify that it's the most recent information from reliable sources. If ChatGPT or whatever one you use doesn't provide sources for its claims, ask for them. If you can't find it, then don't use the information. Find your own sources. Think of ChatGPT and all these other tools as an assistant. Give it tasks you already have and see how it can help. Don't ever let it become the writer. It's only a tool that can be part of a toolbox. And again, if you use AI-generated content outside of metadata and key takeaways, you have to include an AI disclosure. So now I want to share some resources out there for those of you who may want to dig into this. And I highly recommend that you do. AI is here. A lot of people don't realize the Associated Press has been using AI for 10 years. So people are using this and it's not going away. So first, the Google News Initiative has a whole lesson overview about AI, talking about artificial intelligence, generative AI, machine learning, and automation. And there's a whole lesson based for journalists. Pointer has this great course, AI for journalists and content creators, from understanding to application. It is you can do it in about 5 hours. It is very detailed, very oriented, and $99. That's pretty good deal to learn about AI. The Journalist Toolbox, AI. This is Mike Riley. He is a journalism professor at the University of Illinois Champaign. He actually spoke at the Chicago convention as part of the innovation bubble, but he has this website. And this is the definitive list of all the AI tools out there. He also has videos and a newsletter. He has a lot of free stuff, but he also has a paid section that's very robust. But it will give you all the information that you want to learn about AI and journalism. The Verification Handbook. This is a free book. It covers tools to investigate social media accounts, bots, private messaging, information operations, deep fakes, and all forms of disinformation and media manipulation. Pointer has a template for those of you who are in newsrooms or in communications who want to create a policy on how to use AI. And you can go right in here and update this, take this template and create your own newsroom AI policy, or just your own personal AI policy. Next is Trusting News. They have a new AI kit, and it is interactive. It's got a lot of great information and it's free. Trusting News does great work on the AI side, so this is just another source. Okay, so that is the end of the tools section. And if anybody has any more questions, you feel free to drop them in the Q&A. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Okay, let me go to the Q&A. All right. Okay. How are editors or professors able to tell if someone has used AI unethically? AI, it's getting better, but you can tell. And there are tools out there. They're not 100% perfect, but there are tools out there that will give you an idea of whether somebody has done AI or not. But again, you have to be careful. But some of the stuff you can read and you can tell. I see a lot of stuff written by people and it's like, oh, this is obviously AI. You can see that there are mistakes. You can see that the writing is kind of stilted. You can actually just drop it into Google and it will pop up and say, you know, this came from. It's a very slippery slope. But you're only hurting yourself if you're going to rely on AI to write everything for you, because you're going to get caught. The Wall Street Journal last year did this big story about how students were using AI and they had great grades, and then they graduated and they get jobs and they're fired after a month because they don't have any critical thinking skills. They can't do research. They're just so dependent on AI. So can we get links from the site that was listed? I have given NABJ a copy of my presentation, so you will get that. So you're welcome, and all the stuff is in there. The Career Dream site, that is in the link. I can't tell you what I had for dinner last night, but that's in the link. You're going to get the link to this presentation so you can go through it, and it's in there. Will I be doing other webinars related to AI? Yes, I'm actually working on things. I am actually running the innovation bubble for this year's convention in Atlanta, and we are going to have a lot of really good programming. I'm going to be doing some more things. So yes, we will, because I want everyone to be ready. I want them to know how to use this, especially in a time where newsrooms are laying off people left and right. I want all of us to be in those newsrooms. I want all of the communicators to be at the table when they're doing policy and coming up with plans and everything. So yes, there will be more. Do you see the trend that busting public figures, institutional leaders for giving AI generated speeches or publication as the new gotcha in journalism? I don't like to call it gotcha. I call it informing the public. I saw something the other day. I belong to a Slack where we talk about these issues, and a journalist had been trying to catch up with the person to interview them, and finally got the email. This person emailed their answers back, and then admitted that they used ChatGPT to come up with the answers. That's one thing. I don't like giving people questions by email. I'll give you a list of topics, but I'm not going to give you my specific questions because I don't want them to have to go through AI or have somebody come up with the answers and then you're reading from a script. So there's a lot of resistance and fear of AI in the college classroom. I understand that, and it's right to have that fear. What can college professors and instructors do to ease their way into AI in the classroom? By explaining how it is a tool, that it is not how you do your journalism or do your communications. You can talk about prompts. You can show examples of how students can use AI ethically, and you can emphasize that you need people to know that it is a tool, and if they're using it, they have to reveal how they're using it. And teach those critical skills, those thinking skills. You professors are at the front line of this. So you have that power, and you have to drill this into your students, because it's really easy to go ahead and jump into AI and think you're being clever and getting all of this information. So you are at the front lines. And any professors who want to reach out, I'm actually in the NABJ educators Facebook group, so you can always reach out to me there. And I'm very easy to find, Benet for NABJ at aviationqueen.com. Are there specific phrases or punctuation elements that you've seen that are telltale of people using AI in their work? There are. A lot of people go on about the M dash, and I'm going to push back on that. I've been using M dashes since before computers. So that is a legitimate tool. I think that people are using it the wrong way, and that's why it pops up. You see kind of stilted sentences. You see people using words, complex words where simple will do. There are a lot of telltale signs. And actually, that is a good webinar to do in the future. So thank you for that idea. So if you're using a free AI program, should you upgrade to a pro one? Meaning like my Perplexity, I listened to a presentation given by one of my mentors, and she raved about Perplexity, and she had concrete examples. I never would have thought to pay for it, but it is worth it. Now, I will say that at the time that I did it, if you had a PayPal account, you could get Perplexity for free for a year. So I have it for free through September of 2026. But when my free runs out, I will be paying for it. And sometimes people will give you like a 14-day or a 7-day free trial to see how you like it. And before I got into Perplexity, I was using Microsoft Copilot, because what Copilot would do would sometimes give you kind of a taste. It will give you the paid version, not on everything, but on a lot of stuff. So the M dash is the long. So if you're talking about something instead of a hyphen, it's kind of a longer hyphen. That's the only way that I can explain it, but it's something that's been around for a very long time, but AI tends to like to throw it in, but not use it correctly. Were there any more questions? Here we go. What is the appropriate etiquette for letting people know that a meeting is being transcribed using AI? Well, most of the time, like with Zoom, it says this meeting is being recorded. And I just tell people that it's being transcribed. You just have to be honest. And if people want to opt out, they can opt out. But using AI note takers can result in people censoring themselves. It's a danger. I like to tell people that I am using it only for my own notes. It's not going to be out there in the public. I will, double check from the recording, but I'm not trying to, get anyone. But most programs like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and different platforms will tell you, will automatically say this is being recorded, or on the screen it will pop up. AI companion, AI summary is on. Okay, if there are no more questions, thank you all so much. I know evenings are busy, you're tired from work, so thank you so much for coming to this presentation, and look for more. Oh, wait, there's one more. Oh, it's my AI and my digital sensei, an NABJ Hall of Famer and Professor Retha Hill. What are your feelings about employers using AI to screen out job seekers and complaining about the use of AI in resume writing? It's a double-edged sword. I will tell you that most companies now will take a resume and put it through an algorithm. And that algorithm is looking for keywords from the job's description. So if you don't have those keywords, that's my whole resume webinar. That's a whole different thing. But they are using AI. And if you don't have those keywords in there, a human being is not going to call you back for a possible screening or an actual interview. So just make sure, and there is a lot of complaints. There are a lot of people who are using tools to write their own resumes. And those tools aren't always accurate. There are a lot of industries that have specifics. Journalism is one of those things that has specifics. Broadcast has a lot of acronyms, online, digital, print. We all have these little things. And AI doesn't always catch that. So you have to be careful. Write your own resume out. You can have the writing coach look at it, or do like me. I have an editor. Denise Clay Murray edits my resumes. I'm a resume whiz, but I don't edit my own resume. You need to have another pair of human eyes look at your resume, and somebody that's in the industry. And then, oh, thank you, Rashonda. That is a good point. Chat prompts can be subpoenaed. So that is a very good point. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Thank you all again. And taking the time and taking the time to sit here through this, and expect more in the future. And I hope to see you all in Atlanta. We're going to have some very robust programming in the innovation bubble and in the general programming. So thank you all. Have a great evening. This has been recorded, and you will get a link to my presentation. Thanks to you all. Have a great evening.